This is the season of You Talkshow, where putting yourself first is always in season. Life is bound to suck at times, and that's why I've created this podcast, where you can learn tips and tricks to navigate the suck. Together, we grow through seasons of singleness, seasons of sadness, seasons of celebration, seasons of hope, and also seasons of nope. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Welcome to this season of You Talk Show. I am so excited to have you here today because, I was sitting there and I was like, what am I going to talk about this week? And I'm happy I waited because waiting allowed me to just have this most amazing experience with other women. So the message of this entire message is, even when you think no one is listening, people you have no idea exist are listening and watching and wanting to learn more about you, your business, your brand, what you do, and who you are. So if you are wanting to start something, if you're like, Megan, I have this huge idea and I was just at my friend's boutique. I want to start a boutique. If you want to start a podcast, I have an entire one sheet on what I recommend for starting a podcast. If you want to start a business, if you want to start a coaching company, if you want to start anything in this world, but you're like, but who's going to listen? Well, I'm just honestly here to tell you, I thought the same thing. When I launched this podcast, I had maybe 2 people who would listen to it. And I was like, I'm going to launch it because this is in my soul. I literally sat down, recorded 4 episodes all at once because I was like, I need to get this out there for some reason. Like, this needs to come out of my mouth and out to the world. And in November, it will be 1 year since I started the podcast. We're currently almost in August. So we're closer to 1 year than not of doing this podcast. And this podcast has literally been the best thing that's ever happened to me. This podcast has connected me to people I would have never connected with. I just had my high school teacher in my house, and she was on my It Gets Better Girl podcast. So if you know anyone in high school, if you have high school kids or even middle school, it would pertain. That podcast is made for girls going through it. Okay. So if you know anyone who would benefit from it, I'll keep that link in the box below. But I had so many amazing women. I've made so many friends. I've rekindled friendships all through this podcast. This podcast has high key changed my life. And you could look at the numbers and you could say you are a 1-800 failure. You could say it because my downloads aren't, extraordinarily high. I get the same amount of downloads per episode, but slowly but surely it keeps going up and keeps going up. And I had a huge spike and then I came back down to like level speed, right? And that's just how things go. They ebb and they flow. Where your attention shifts, things will shift as well. But I'm just here to tell you, people will come to you and people will listen. And I wish I knew that sooner. Now, I go to try to launch an offer. So I have this thing, if you're interested, it's called Hype Club. And every month for 1 week, we help each other do hard things and we kind of get through the motions and go through the process of getting unstuck and we want to focus on one thing and get that one big thing off your checklist. And I launched that this week and nobody bought it. It's cool. It's not happening until August 15th. So if you're listening to this before August 15th, 2022, you let me know because you can get in. And that's okay. I know people are listening because I saw how many people clicked the link, right? But again, people I don't even know me. And I think that's the scary part about being online is like exposing yourself to all of these people knowing who you are. So let me get to my story because I'm high key blown away. So my friend Marissa has a boutique, Fire Sign Style. I was just at her boutique because I bought something on her Instagram story sale, which if you don't follow her, she is amazing. I mean, I don't even know how else to explain it. Like, what she does is amazing. She gave me this bracelet. She's amazing. And her boutique is so cute. So I ordered something literally 3 weeks ago on a story sale and I am the worst. And I just haven't made it over there to pick it up. So today I had a half day at work and I was like, all right, today is the day. I'm going to go pick up my stuff. And so I go and I pick it up and we just start talking and this girl walks in. And I don't know who this girl is. Okay. I've never seen her before. But she's like, oh, my friend, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's cool. Great. I don't know who you are. I invited them to my breakfast because every month I'm hosting a breakfast for women who want to get to know more women who are crushing it. So if you're interested, you let me know because I can add you to the group chat. So if you are a badass woman who wants to meet more badass women, you let me know because every month we're going to have a breakfast and you can come. So you just have to let me know, and you have to be local and you can't be creepy. And there's a lot of stipulations and you have to be kind. But if you meet all of those things, welcome. You're invited. And so I invited this girl and her friend who was on FaceTime to the breakfast. And I was like, we'd love to have you come on down, come to the breakfast. It's going to be a great time. And her friend goes, oh my God. I added her to the breakfast group chat. And she goes, you know this girl? I say, yes. And then she said, oh my God, you're the girl with the podcast. Me? You're talking to me? Yes, I have a podcast. She's like, I was literally listening to your podcast today. I'm sorry, I don't know you. And this is wild. I don't know you yet. Somehow, some way, I've been avoiding going there for 3 weeks because I've been crazy busy. The day I show up, some girl walks in and her best friend on FaceTime listened to my podcast. Don't stop sharing because you think no one is listening. People are listening. People you don't know are listening. You going out and doing the thing you want to do can high key change people's lives. And I do this because I know that I'm supposed to do this. It just pours right out of me like whiskey out of a bottle. But not only that, like, I have no idea the amount of reach I have. I have no clue. Yes, I can see the numbers. Yes, I can see the downloads. Yes, I can see where they're coming in from. I think people listen to this podcast in over literally so many places. I wish I could tell you them, but I don't know. I know the last one on my list is Czechoslovakia. So it's amazing where this podcast is getting listened to. And it's also amazing, even within my local community, who listens to me and who really understands, and wants to grow and become better. And so I was driving home and I was just so amazed and so grateful that I chose today, even though I ordered it weeks ago, to go pick it up, because that moment was not by accident. That moment I needed that moment in my soul, because I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's really hard. I have a lot of stuff going on, remembering these podcast episodes to upload at the right time, the right day, the right place, the right this, the right that. It's oh my goodness. Last week I high key recorded the episode in my car, so it's just to hear that people want to listen and people want to learn more about themselves and step into a season of themselves and to really learn who they are is just so amazing and reinvigorating. And the message is if you have something inside of you that you need to create and that you want to create and that you want to be a part of, do it. People will show up. People will show up you don't know. People will show up you didn't know you needed. People will show up and they will be exactly who you need them to be in that moment. Now, not everyone's going to listen to your podcast every week. I'm here to tell you, or shop your store. My closest friends don't listen to my podcast. And that's okay. Honestly, it would be kind of weird if they did. I buy from my friends, but I don't obviously buy from them all the time. I buy from them if I need them, if I need something that they sell. But, I shop around, and you need to understand that if you are going to start something, people aren't going to 100% support you fully that surround you in real life. And I think that that's a hard mental shift to get around. So if you want to start a business, if you want to start a podcast, if you want to start a club, if you want to start a girls community, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but you need to know that your biggest supporters are going to be people you don't know that you then know, and then you get to know them more and more and more and more and more and more and more. So don't look at your circle right now and say, this is all of my support. Look at where you're going and say, I can't even imagine how big my circle is going to be. Because when you step into what you're supposed to do, everything changes. When you step into the role you're supposed to be in, the speeches you're supposed to give, right? The groups you're supposed to facilitate, everything you're supposed to do, when you step into that, The people who you never knew needed you and who never knew you needed will change your life. And when I tell you, I was standing there in my friend's boutique, which is a goal of hers and a dream of hers, and we were on FaceTime with this girl. This girl was on FaceTime in her boutique, and that girl said, "You're the girl with the podcast." I would have never known this girl existed if I wasn't in that place in that time. And I'm so grateful I did, because now we're chatting in the DMs, and I truthfully hope I can support her in any way that she needs me to, because that's what I want to be, and that's what I want to do, and that's who I am. And so to see it happen in real life around other people, like, that is saying, okay, Megan, you're doing the right thing. And I want you to know that that doesn't happen every day. Like, people don't just come up to you every day and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. I love your podcast." I sit there with my cheese puffs and I just listen to your podcast all the time. And I just tell all my friends about it, and you're all I listen to, and you've changed my life. And every day, I just, all these messages just come in every single day. Absolutely not. There will be days, there will be weeks, there will be a month, there might be a month and a half drought where people don't tell you that your shit matters. And you need to dig into the depths of your soul and be like, I know this is what I am supposed to be. This is delivered to me from God. I know that, listen, there is no reason why I should be able to turn on a mic and 12, 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes later have words come out that make sense when I haven't planned one thing. This vehicle that I'm doing to you, this was given to me, and I'm using it to tell people about God. I'm using it to tell people about themselves, and I'm using it most importantly, to show the peace that can happen when you step into something so much bigger than you. And it's so amazing when you say, I don't need outside recognition. It will come and it will feel great. But when you know that even without the kind words, even when you're in a drought of kindness, you know that in the depths of your soul, something is right. So I'm going to ask you right now, what is inside of you that is right, that you need to act on, that will make you be who you are? What is that thing, and how can you start doing it? Get unstuck. Stop living in who you could be and start stepping into who you know you need to be for the world. We live in this tiny little bubble. Dude, that bubble's gonna fucking burst. Get out of your bubble and say, how can I serve the world? Okay? Because let me tell you, it would be so easy. It would be so easy for me not to share, not to go to breakfast with people, not to meet people, not to do this podcast, and just stay in my own little bubble and serve the people around me. But let me tell you, I'm not into easy. I'm into changing people's lives for the better and giving them the best life they can get through knowing themselves and what their options are. I didn't know peace was possible. I'm here to tell you peace is possible and happiness is an option. That's how this whole thing started. My message has obviously evolved and changed, but at the end of the day, those two things, peace and happiness, have high key changed my life, and I want you to be able to feel that too. And that's why every episode I do is laced in you understanding more about yourself. And so ask yourself this: how can I give? What do I have to give? And what has been in my heart for so long that I just keep pushing down and pushing down and pushing down because I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the relationships. I don't have this. 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 I don't care. And guess who doesn't care? God. He doesn't care either. You want to know what you can do? Start with what you have, which is your voice, your natural talents, your connections. Stop thinking that you need money and money is the only way to your goals. Like, that ain't it. Money, there's so much more to life than money. Yes, money makes your life a little bit better, but when it comes down to you stepping into the role you're supposed to be in, if it's God-given, right? If it is your God-given duty, the doors will open, the seas will part, and you will get every single resource you need to be successful. Okay? I'm recording this podcast on a $100 mic with my phone. Period. Okay? That's it. It could cost you $100. It could cost you $200. It could cost you no dollars. But at the end of the day, you need to decide and be full-hearted, whole, committed, that you are going full send into your gift and into where you're supposed to be. So my truest apologies. If you're looking for a polished podcast, this ain't it. So if you have been thinking about something for a while and you're like, but I just don't think people will support me. No, they might not. And that's okay, because you don't need your immediate circle to support you, because you will find so many amazing people along the way who are committed to you and your success and will be an evangelist of who you are and what you do. Because the people around you probably aren't your ideal customer. They probably aren't who you craft content for. Like, I craft content high key for the girl who was on the FaceTime who said, you have a podcast. Like, that girl, that's my girl. That's who I speak to. And to see her in real life that I've never met, that I didn't even know existed, and for her to say, I love your podcast, I'm dead. Like, truthfully. Because this thing is so much bigger than me talking into a microphone. This is me playing in your car right now, or your kitchen, or you're in your sports bra because you're running and, here I am awkwardly laying on your boob. Okay, like, there are so many ways you could be listening to this, but at the end of the day, I do this for you. Because I want you to know that life can be so much more than what you limit it to. And if the support thing is stopping you, I don't know why I'm so stuck on this, but maybe someone needs to hear it again. If you are not doing something because you do not have the support, start and the support will come. Reach out to people who have done what you've done, who have been where you've been. Reach out to people who you look up to. My biggest thing is get closer to the sun. If you like someone, if you like what they do, if you like how they do things, get close to them and just bask in their brilliance, okay? You will learn so much. So I hope this episode was helpful. I hope that you're able to see that no matter what resources you have, no matter where you're from, no matter how you got here, no matter why you think you're unqualified, you're not. We need you to do what you were put here to do. If that's talking, if it's drawing, if it's baking, if it's opening up a boutique, whatever it is, we need you to do that. So stop letting the fear of what other people might think or that nobody will support you stop you. Because honestly, some people might not support you, but you will find so many more amazing people who you never knew existed that will. So I hope you have a magical day. I hope you have a magical week. And I hope every single day of that magical week is filled with magical moments. Again, if you have anyone who would benefit from my It Gets Better Girl podcast for middle school and high school girls, you can go ahead and share it with them below. I would love that. The link is below this pod. I'm so grateful to have you here, and I will see you next week. Goodbye, everyone. I'm going to go eat my cheese puffs now.